A regular flight is scary enough for some people. Even though air travel are still one of the safest means of travel, there's still some places that can make air travel dangerous and scary. Perhaps have you ever held onto your armrest on an airplane going through a turbulence as your stomach twists, softly praying you make it through or at least get a parachute and jump out, yet you have never used it? Fortunately, this isn't a frequent occurrence with destinations to which people more commonly travel. However, for some others, every landing and takeoff is an adventure. From ice runways and harsh weather conditions to short runways, these are the most dangerous airports in the world. But before we jump into number 1, be sure that you have subscribed and hit the bell icon to keep yourself informed with amazing videos. With that said, let's jump into our incredible list. Princess Juliana International Airport, Saint Martin. With a stretch of the beach located right before the runway, Princess Juliana Airport keeps people holding on to their heads. As the plane descends, it is only a few feet above the people's heads and also greets them with an unpleasant gush of sand and wind. Yet the main scare is the runway is also short, with 7,100 feet long, making the plane's approach over the water at an extremely low altitude, appearing to be just feet above the heads of the public. This makes it not only dangerous to the people in the plane, but also those on the beach. Gisborne Airport in New Zealand. Hope you have heard Gibraltar Airport, which has a road crossing through the runway. This is quite similar to Gisborne, but in this case something more complicated with less control pass through the runway. Not cars but trains. Gisborne takes it one step further as the railway line intersects with the runway. Cars may be halted at Gibraltar, but both schedules of the railways and airplanes must be taken care of in Gisborne to avoid any unfortunate incidents. In addition to this, the airport has 3 grass runways and only 1 main runway. Narsarsuaq Airport in Greenland. Nowhere else on Earth does a pilot have to contend with the mix of factors that exist at this dangerous airport. Short runways covered in ice, extremely cold temperatures, severe winds, and low visibility due to not only heavy snow, but also ash clouds from nearby active volcanoes, make landing at Narsarsuaq Airport in Greenland not for the faint of heart. The runway is not unlike the place it is situated at, frozen. The frosted runways is only one of the reasons the airport is feared by pilots. McMurdo Air Station, Antarctica. Not everyone needs to go to Antarctica all the time, and so, the airport there is not exceedingly developed. The planes need to land on sleek manicured ice, and if one isn't careful, it could cause a bad accident if it skids. The weight of the plane needs checked carefully so it doesn't end up cracking the landing strip or so that it doesn't get stuck in snow. This ice runway is used by the US Antarctic program through the summer season and is close to McMurdo Station. This military base is the only main airport on the continent, and during the winter the area is dark 24 hours a day. With no lights on the runway and during a whiteout, pilots go for a special training to land on this ice runway. Since it is dark for quite a few months in the year, pilots need to wear night vision goggles in order to land safely. Saba Airport. You might think that King Kong is dangerous, but his native island of Saba, the original King Kong movie island, lies the shortest airport, Juliana Airport, known to be one of the world's shortest commercial airport runways. At only 1,300 feet long, only well-trained pilots are allowed to fly in the area. The approach is almost at a cliff, alongside the jagged terrain of Saba, and then a sharp bank left before an immediate landing. Medicaine Airstrip, in Lesotho. This small airstrip in Lesotho in the village of Medicaine, used by charity organizations and doctors to access remote villages in the area, is known as one of the world's scariest runways. With the short run of 1,640 feet, landing and taking off is very scary and difficult, as the pilot literally just drive off the edge of a deep cliff. Courchevel International Airport. While the airport at Lukla has a dangerously short runway of only 1,729 feet, the one at Courchevel Airport is even shorter at 1,722 feet. This airport drops off in a cliff as well, so pilots need to make sure they gain enough speed before the drop. After maneuvering the plane through the Alps, the plane needs to touch down at an angle stooped towards the front, as this French airport is sloped at a downward gradient of 18.5%. This makes taking off even more dangerous than landing here. Paro Airport. This airport in Bhutan allows only 17 qualified pilots who are authorized to land on a runway that is surrounded by severe 18,000-foot mountain peaks. The 6,500-foot runway only allows for arrivals and departures during the daytime. The dramatic approach to the runway is completely out of sight for the pilots until the last minute as they maneuver between mountains at a 45-degree angle before dropping quickly onto the runway. There is even a point when the bottom of the plane comes perilously close to mountaintop homes on approach. One red cliffside home is the key focal point for pilots on their approach. But when the passengers break into applause on landing and you walk out into the magnificent fresh air and temple-style airport, it is well worth the adventure. Toncontin Airport in Honduras. This comes in as second due to the location next to the mountains, as well as the narrow size of the runway. The landing is very complicated. Pilots are forced to make a dramatic sharp turn and land near the valley, and the experience is often compared to landing on an aircraft carrier. It becomes more complicated with the frequent wind gusts and poor weather conditions that hamper the pilots, as they must make a direct head-on landing, with the biggest fear of having a large aircraft overshoot the runway if not landed perfectly on target. Tenzing-Hillary Airport, in Nepal. This small airport in the small town of Lukla, in eastern Nepal, has been named by many as the most dangerous airport on Earth. However, the airport is very popular because Lukla is the place where most people starting the climb to Mount Everest put their camp. First, the airport is almost surrounded by mountains. Second, the flying distance of the airport is very short and narrow with a flying distance of 1,729 feet. Even though the airport has a short runway and surrounded by mountains, rain is common in this place, making things worse and landing difficult. While during sunny days, the high crosswinds from the surrounding mountains are very common, with high cloud cover changing visibility, often causing flights to be delayed in some cases. As always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and you can also watch the 10 amazing abandoned airports in the world or the most dangerous plane crashes in history.